I want to ask you a simple question. I want you to be honest with me. How many of you in here are willing to admit you are afraid of the dark? Go ahead and raise your hand. Okay, got a few hands going around the room. All right, now I know two things for a fact. Statistics show that, and there's been a study done of adults in the United States of America, and it shows that 29% of women, when there's an anonymous poll done, are afraid of the dark, and 30% of men are afraid of the dark. So two things that teaches me. One, you're a bunch of liars, because not 30% of you raised your hand. And number two, men are bigger scaredy cats than women, because statistics show that to be true. And all you women out there nodding your head, you go, I already knew that. We men know it too. You gave birth to children, we didn't. Like you're on a totally different level. We understand, and we acquiesce. You win, ladies. But 30% of men, 29% of women confess to being scared of the dark. Here's what's interesting. Beyond that, another 32% of women and 36% of men confess in an anonymous survey that they're very uneasy about the dark. Wouldn't quite say they're afraid of it, but they're uneasy. So 62%, or with math, 61% of women, 66% of men confess to being at best uneasy, at worst downright afraid of the dark. About 2/3 of the adult population doesn't like the dark. And it's not that hard to imagine why. Darkness is pretty chaotic feeling when you're around it. It makes us uneasy. Feels like bad things are going to happen in the dark. I remember when I first discovered this, I was about 14 years old, and I had a moment when I realized the way my mind plays tricks on me in the darkness. So it's about 11 p.m., so it's good and dark. I'm laying in bed. At the time, I was around 13, 14, 15. I would struggle to go to sleep at night. I would just kind of lay there. My mind would wander. And so I'm laying there in bed, all snug as a bug in a rug in my little blanket and ready to go to sleep. And then I hear a soft little on the window right by the bed. It's a little small tapping. And like immediately you're going, okay, is someone in the house? Is that going on somewhere? It sounds like it's my window, but there's no way there's someone tapping on my window right now. And then I wait a little bit, and then I hear it again, right there on my window. And I'm going, okay, maybe it's like a tree branch in the wind. And I'm going through my mind, there ain't no tree out there. That's not a tree branch. Maybe the wind is just kind of blowing something in. Leaves are hitting it methodically in rhythm. I don't know. Maybe something else is going on. I'm just trying to calm down, going, there's no way there's someone outside my window about to break in and murder me. I'm okay. And so a brave 14-year-old, I pull my blanket up over my head and I just lay there. And then I hear it. Someone knocking hard, and I realize a murderer's out there. He's about to bust in and kill me. So I do what any sane 14-year-old boy does. I go running to mommy and daddy in their room. I bust in, I go to my dad and I say, Dad, there's somebody outside trying to bust in and kill me. Now, my dad, I've never been a prouder moment in my life. He wakes up, jumps out of bed, and pulls the gun that's in between the mattress, which, if you're watching online outside of Texas, this is what we do. He pulls the gun up, and I thought I saw a cape flying out. He just goes tearing out after whoever this guy is, the assailant who's about to kill his son. Now, in my moment, I think I'm just moved by my dad's bravery, but I decide I'm going to be his little sidekick, and I go running out with him. He doesn't even notice I'm behind him. He flings the door open, goes tearing out around the corner to see, and I'm right there next to him, and we turn and we see this guy jumping over the fence and realize there really was somebody who was out there. And so at this point now, my dad, if I remember correctly, he may have a different side of the story. He's sitting right there. He's screaming at the guy, no profanity. He's screaming at the guy. And he's just going, whoever you are, I've got a gun right now, and I'm going to shoot first, ask question later. He's just tearing into this guy. Is that how it went, Dad? Something like that, pretty much. And I just knew, whoever that guy was, he was gone. It was over. And then you hear this squeaky little voice say, I'm sorry, Mr. Paredes, it's your neighbor Jamal. I was just going to talk to Jason. I'm so sorry. So my neighbor, this is before cell phones, right? So when you want to communicate with somebody, you do smoke signals or you knock on the we that's how you couldn't send a text going, hey, you up? So he had just had something happen with his girl and he just needed to talk to somebody. So he comes on over to knock on the window. He knocked on the wrong window and almost died. It was so funny. But here's what got my attention. If it had been 11 a.m. and the sun was up, and I heard a little knock on my window, I would have assumed it was my dad or my brother or somebody outside, maybe even my neighbor Jamal, somebody trying to get my attention. I would have just pulled back the blinds and saw who it was. I wouldn't have thought someone's trying to kill me. And it's dark though, it's 11 p.m., it's dark outside, and my brain doesn't work because nowhere did I process, a murderer is not gonna knock on the window and say, hello, I'm about to bust in and kill you, can you open the window? That's just not gonna happen, but when it's dark outside, your brain doesn't work right. Fear comes in. That's the way darkness works. Darkness exposes the things that we're afraid of, which is exactly why there are times that God uses darkness to get our attention. And if you think we in the United States of America, the 66% of us who don't feel comfortable with darkness, we pale in comparison to just how terrified the Egyptians would have been of darkness, which is exactly why the 9th plague to come is a plague of darkness.